Hello, everyone. This is the 3 Degrees Podcast. My name is Randy Stone. So glad you're here. So glad you joined me. I want to talk about some recovery basics. Let's get into some recovery basics. Now, if we were to go anywhere in the country and go to an NA or go to an AA meeting, what would you find? Well, one, you would probably find people that are trying to recover from drugs and alcohol. But after that, how do they start the meeting? What goes on? So one of the fundamental things that happens is they read this thing called How It Works. And it is really how this thing works. And so every meeting, this is read. And this was created and formed from some of the original people, in AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, about how they recovered. Because years ago, there were no treatment centers, really. There was nobody. There was just people trying to help one another recover from, alcoholism or substance abuse. So it starts out and it says, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. And that is the beginning. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Now, my first meeting was in April of 1985. Went to my first meeting in April of 1985. So I've went to a lot of meetings. I don't go to meetings now, but I do minister the gospel, and I do work the principles that was set down, more than 30 years ago. So I'm still working these principles. I'm just not doing meetings, so to speak. But I went to meetings for years and years and years and years and years. And it says, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. And it is the people who have recovered are talking to the people who are trying to recover, people who are trying to get into this. So this is the best, in other words, they're saying, this is the best advice we have if you want to recover. This is it. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. And so we have to, when we enter into recovery, when we enter into something, we have to do it wholeheartedly. We have to enter this program and simply give her simple. It's so simple. Just simply give yourselves to this simple program. Now, what's a program? A program is something that's done consistently and repeatedly over a period of time. It's a program. It's something where you can predict what's going to happen because life has been unpredictable. And so now we need to make life predictable. And so we have to start to set things in motion that are going to be predictable, that we don't have to just make up life and it's not always chaotic. So we want to give ourselves to the simple program. It says usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. So the people who don't make it are the ones who are constitutionally, they just cannot be honest with themselves. The quickest way to change is to face reality. So we have to be honest with ourselves if we're going to recover. If we want to continue and blame and deny and point fingers, recovery is probably not for you. It's probably not going to happen for someone you care about because they have to be honest. Honest, open, and willing. It's how this thing works. There are such unfortunates. They're not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They're naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty, and their chances are less than average. There are those, too, who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. So before we start steps, before we get into that, we need to understand how this works. So we have to have the capacity to be honest. Will we be completely honest? We'll be as honest as we can. Let's just be as honest as we can be at that time. So we have the capacity to be honest. Now, our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we're like now. Now, this is pretty simple. I used to do this. This is what happened. This is what I do now. If you've decided you want what we have and you're willing to go to any length to get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. So if you decide you want what we have, then you're ready to take certain steps. But you have to be willing to go to any length to get it. We can't give up. We can't say, oh, this is too much. When I started this program more than 30 years ago, I was so hurt. I was so broke. I was so busted. I was so disgusted. I would do anything they said do that I had capacity or comprehension or understanding to do. Now, I live in a small community, and I hitchhiked many miles, many times to go to meetings, to do something for my recovery. Maybe you can't do that now, but I was willing to go to any length to get what they had. What did they have? They had a life worth living. They had recovered or come out of that pit of addiction. And that's exactly what I wanted. So I was ready. I was ready to take certain steps. I will do whatever you say do. You know how to do this. I don't. I'll do what you say. So I'm ready to take certain steps. But it says it's some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. If you're looking to find an easier, softer way to do anything, find a group of alcoholics. They will find the easiest, the softest way to get something done. So there is no easier way than this. So with all earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. We cannot enter. It's just like being born again. We can't bring our old life into our new life of being born again, of being a Christian and being dead or being unsaved. They don't mix. We can't bring the old life into the new life. We have to completely abandon this old life, this old way of thinking. Our old ideas got us into the trouble that we were in. So we have to let those things go. Absolutely. It says, remember, we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, and powerful. Without help, it's too much for us. But there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. May you find God now. This program of recovery is about living now, not in the past, not what we used to do, but right now. Without help, it's too much for us. It's too much for all of us. It's too much for any of us. May you find God now. This is a prerequisite to submission. Without help, it's too much for us. There is one. God has all power. Find him. Half measures, it says half measures availed us nothing. We don't go in halfway. I'm not going to just try this out. You need to do it 100%. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. And then it says, here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. Half measures avail us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked God's protection and care. We're pushing off from the dock. We're going into the unknown. We're going to do something that's very uncomfortable, that's very difficult, but this has to be done. Something has to change. Doggone it, I've hurt enough. I have to do something different. We are ready to take certain steps. We're ready to leave this old life behind. That is the beginning. That is the start. That's how this all gets going. That's the start of this. And so if you've decided you want what we have and you're willing to go to any length to get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. Now, this is the basics. This is the basics. We're going to talk about the basics next time. We'll do step 1, then we'll go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 12 of them. So we have at least 12 videos to do. But how it works is how it gets going. If you don't ever get going, nothing's ever going to change. And you want things to change. People want things to change. I know they do. I know they do. My name is Randy Stone. So glad you stopped by. Till next time, God bless. See you soon.